We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, Big Black Lights, we take a look at this.
And what this is from Pex Peppers, it is the Bangin Mango. And I'm gonna insect on here. This is a mango and passion fruit hot sauce. So the expectation is kind of that it'd be sweet, but we'll get into that shortly. It is not. It's been a little while since I've had a Pex Pepper sauce. I'd kind of done, I think, as many as I was interested in at the time. And some of those got a bit into what I would describe as diminishing results. So, take a break from them. There are some excellent sauces in the lineup, but not, I would say not consistently. This company I find a bit on the streaky side, if I'm being honest. But let's take a look at the ingredients. We have the CGM 21500 pepper mash. We have vinegar, mango, passion fruit pulp, and agave nectar. So a lot of sweet stuff. There's no salt not included in this, but there's a lot of fairly sweet stuff to this. And I was kind of surprised. So the 21500, this is my first exposure to it. My understanding is that it is a fairly sweet, in the habanero family pepper. The idea being that it delivers the heat of a habanero, but not that sort of habanero flavor system to it. And to me, that is almost saying, well, I'm Scotch bonnet, I guess you would say, sort of does that as well. Maybe not to the extent of a habanero, but I'm given to understand that these are only about 100,000 shu. So, if that's the case, we definitely have a much milder pepper, and that is kind of the way a lot of that goes. As you go down the scale in heat, you wind up with more of a flavor aspect to it. Walls of the fruit are thicker, and so on. So let's take a look at this here in the spoon. And you can see it's a fairly yellowish thing. I mean, it makes sense. Mango and habanero can be a really good combination. So it makes sense to take this approach, kind of with passion fruit and mango, sort of a tropical vibe to it. I understand they're a tropical pepper as well. So all that kind of makes sense. And you can see here it is a very pretty, almost a sunflower yellow, golden yellow sort of color. I think the color looks pretty good. You saw there was particulates there when I showed you the bottle. Not a whole lot of them in here, though. Mostly the particulates are showing up as pepper seeds and not really too much pulpy stuff. Although if you look at the bottleneck here, you can see there is some clinging of some of the pulp residue to the neck right there. But all right, let's get on into it. I think it does have some of the taste attributes actually of habanero. Here we have it kind of combined with passion fruit. Definitely is forward, that very tropical vibe. I think the mistake here is this is a very sour sauce, even with the agave nectar. And this is speaking to me of non-ripe mangoes, which I think that was a mistake. I think this could have been a really nice sweet sauce. And it isn't. It's just very, very sour. And sour mango sauces are not, when we look at fruit-based sauces, we generally will think of sweet hots instead of sour hots. And I mean, the heat is actually fairly moderate here. It is, we had kind of a blast initially, and then it sort of low-key blast, and it just kind of tapers off after that pretty quickly, actually. I mean, there's just a very small bit of a lingering sort of burn, I guess, after I had that teaspoon right there, the white spoon. So I am interested in trying more stuff with this pepper, but I think this is just kind of the wrong vehicle to really sort of showcase it. So, but let's do some testing. Let's play around with it some. So, and there's a story behind this, but these are Wendy's spicy chicken nuggets, and we'll have this here in a minute. We'll get to what that is momentarily. I went to this Wendy's, and it is becoming, the one by me is just getting less and less impressive. And, it's kind of a matter of, do I want to drive twice as far to actually get the menu items that they're pushing or not, In this case, I didn't, but I didn't know that it's frustrating when restaurant chains don't want to carry the promotions. I'll just say that. That will come more to bear here in a minute. So it offsets the sort of rich, heavy vibe of these spicy chicken nuggets that are very good. I will say there is at least mango flavor in this. I just wish it wasn't sour. We'll see if we can get anything approaching a burn. So far, no, but man, that is overly sour. I don't like that. Maybe that's what he's going for. I don't know. It does fit in with what I was saying about this company, though. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I find underwhelming from them. Well, him. And I'm still interested in trying a lot of it because when he's on, he's way on. It's kind of like batting averages in the major league, right? 300 or higher was considered pretty good for a while. I don't know if it is now. I haven't watched it for years, but when I was growing up, batting average of 300 or higher was considered pretty good, which is 3 hits out of 10. 10 appearances at bat, roughly. And I think that's kind of what this reminds me of. Is just the hits are good. The hits are like homers when they're there, but there's a lot of outs, in the meantime. So here we have so I got instead. I went there because sour sauce, I'm thinking that is really going to complement a heavy, rich food item. And so Wendy's has, at the time of this filming, which is July, at the time of this filming, they have out a jalapeno popper burger. Now, I'm assuming, my thought is that it's going to be kind of like the jalapeno popper El Diablo burger, which was overly rich from Carl's Jr., and you can check out the review of that as well. But this one said, we don't have poppers. Like, we don't do that. We're not doing that promotion. Nothing like that. I don't know what is wrong with this location, but that was really annoying. I still saw that they had, I saw that they still had this, which is the Ghost Pepper Ranch thing. And there is a separate video for this. I didn't love this sandwich, but I figured, every possible advantage to this, see if we can get some heat. I still don't really have any to speak of, but it is, a breaded chicken sandwich. It is a fairly heavy thing with the cheese and everything, so this might work. I really want to do the jalapeno popper, though, and I'm displeased with Wendy's behind this, but who knows? Maybe I'll have to go to a different location if I find another sour sauce where it might work, but let's get a baseline for this stupid thing. That location by me of Wendy's is definitely one of the more questionable ones. But national promotion, you would expect, why would you anticipate they might not have it? It's so stupid. Alright, so I'm covering the surface area of this patty right here. And hopefully we can keep it so that we can keep this sandwich relatively intact. Not have it be a complete slop fest. So this definitely improves this. This actually works better with the ranch than I thought it was going to. Here's what's stupid. I'm pretty sure Wendy's came up with this jalapeno popper chicken sandwich to directly combat Carl's Jr.'s El Diablo. And the rest is just not even bothering. So much for that counter. It's like, a military offensive and you're getting ready to bring up the mortars and stuff. And then your troops say, well, wait. What if we don't do that and we just fling rocks instead? That's kind of what that restaurant's doing. Which is probably why Wendy's will, I would say, probably remain pretty close to the bottom of the list for me. All of fast food is struggling these days. They're all greedy, and all that greed, tinkering with prices and all that stuff. I think it's having some pretty substantial repercussions that maybe they didn't consider properly before they decided to start digging their hands into other people's wallets. Well, despite this having ghost pepper as part of the ranch, and I forget what cheese is on this, some sort of spicy cheese, and it being a spicy chicken sandwich, and the hot sauce, we're really not getting much of a burn out of this. I'm really interested to see if other people are using this pepper, though I haven't seen it around very much. I guess it was discovered somewhere. If you look in the written review, which is available in the description below, I get more into all that kind of stuff. You know, how a little more behind the story of the pepper and so on. I think it's an interesting pepper, and it reminds me a bit of the Scotch bonnet. So I think they could do some really wonderful stuff with it, but this isn't that for me. Stupid Wendy's. All right. Well, so flavor-wise, this isn't awful. I just wish it wasn't also sour. That to me is the biggest drawback. I'm not a fan of sour mango on sauces. If you look back to the blog, anytime I've encountered about that has been a complaint about that sauce. I don't like sour mango. I don't like sour generally in hot sauces, but I really don't like it in fruit. With condiments, I think you're dealing with, in some ways, flavor anchors. And when you have something that just kind of veers off and goes in the other direction, I think that kind of presents a little bit of a problem. I mean, here it improved that sandwich. It didn't really do anything for the nuggets, per se. It did make the sandwich better. So I think if you have something that's fairly rich, this will be okay. But when you have it kind of standing out there on its own as a distinct sort of flavor note instead of melding or contrasting other things, I think it's a lot less effective. So it is. I like trying new peppers though, so I'm glad of that. I had to go look around for other stuff utilizing this pepper because I'm really, really, really curious now to kind of see how that goes. Because some of my favorite sauces wind up with habanero, but there's also an umami component or there is a sweet component to go with it. Habaneros to me are not one of the better flavored peppers out there. This one, I wouldn't, from my experience here, I wouldn't say this one is either, but I like it better than habaneros. I would still put this below probably Scotch bonnet, but it's an approach. But again, like tropical fruits, I think are way better when they're sweet. When they're sour, not my thing. And I think that is kind of my major agreements with this. And it's so weird too because you've got the agave nectar, which is very sweet. And I can't imagine what this would have been like had there not been that in it. I mean, it's still very sour as it is, but without that would have probably just been inedibly brutal. But I don't know that I would even call this okay-ish. I would actually, overall probably call this below average. I mean, the label, I didn't get into this, but this is not great label design, but I've also understood somewhat that it might be a limited edition pepper, possibly. So, as far as a limited edition run, my gripes about labels are a lot less pronounced because if it's not something that's going to be in continuous rotation, who cares? If it's just one run and then you're finished, then fine, whatever. But definitely the color scheme here is lacking a certain amount of contrast it could have, but I'm definitely glad I tried it. I just, that's going to be a sticking point. I imagine I'll come fairly close to finishing this. I mean, it's not an appealing sauce to me. I think it's kind of the problem. So it might be lingering in there for a while, and it might be one of those end of the years that wind up getting binned if I don't finish it by then, but who knows? We'll play around with it a little bit more. Just when you don't have a flavorful sauce, it just really cuts down on the flexibility. And flexibility, you know, the 4 components of the rating, which is in the written review, the 4 components of that rating, that is definitely flexibility and taste are, for me, the 2 probably more important components of that. Obviously, I like stuff to be hot, and the value to dollar amount is just kind of a thing that is, I guess, subjective, you know, for my determination. But if you like sour stuff more than I do, then this might be more right up your alley. Like I said, I'm just not a fan generally of that, and a little bit of cross purposes of this. So I think in the right setting, though, it could be a valuable addition. Just it's got to be like a really idealized sort of setting, though, I think, and that's for me anyway. And we'll leave it there. So there it is, the Pex Peppers Bangin' Mango Hot Sauce.
Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.